Hi there, the name's Nico, and today I'll be going over the basic 2 transition or late game items. These are just guidelines, and some characters are exceptions, but the majority of characters will follow these rules. I'm breaking up the transition items into 4 sections: attack, skill amp, ENAD or EBAD, and defense. If you don't know what I mean, don't worry, I'll explain what I mean in each section. So let's begin. Please note that I am only talking about late game armor slots and not weapons. Some weapons need rare resources and are better to build first compared to armor. Most characters would prefer the upgrade to the rare resource weapon, but there are some exceptions. Most transition items are built out of rare resources. There are 6 rare resources. These are Meteorite, Moonstone, Mithril, Tree of Life, Force Core, and VF Blood Sample. Meteorite can be found at meteorite spawn points every day in Night Cycle, starting at Night 1 up to 4 times, and can drop from wolves, bears, alpha, omega, and wiccaline. Meteorites can make these rare resources. Moonstone is meteorite plus stone. Moonstones can be dropped from wolves and bears. They can make these resources. Mithril can always be found on alpha, but can also drop on wolves, bears, and wiccaline. Mithril can make these items. Tree of Life can be found 4 times on the map, starting Night 1. They spawn 2 at a time, starting Hotel and Cemetery, and at Night 2, they spawn Hospital and Forest. Tree of Life can also be dropped from Bears, Wiccaline, Alpha, and Omega. They can craft these items. Force Cores can be crafted by combining Tree of Life and Meteorite. Force Core is a guaranteed drop from Omega, but can also be dropped from Bears. Force Cores can make these items. The last RNG item is a VF Blood Sample. This item is a guaranteed drop from Wiccaline, but also be dropped from bears. VF Blood Sample can craft these items. All rare materials can also be dropped from air supply boxes. Rare or blue air supply boxes can drop Meteorite, Moonstone, and Tree of Life. Purple or epic air supply boxes can drop Force Cores and VF Blood Samples. The first type of transition items are attack items. These items are really only good on characters that run attack power, critical strike chance, and attack speed. You can make a case for Elysian Halo being defense, but now that it has Biotic Infusion, which means that the next auto attack after a skill does increase damage, it really is only used on the types of characters I listed. If you get any of these items, you should put them on. Elysium Halo and Emerald Tablet are made from the Force Core. Chinese Opera Mask and Red Shoes are made with Via Blood Sample. Blazing Dress is made with True Samadhi Fire, which is a Tree of Life item. And Moonlight Pendant is made with a Moonstone. If you get 1 Force Core, it is generally better to build Elysian Halo over Emerald Tablet, but there are some exceptions, such as Dual Sword Yuki. If you have Elysian Halo, do not make Chinese Opera Mask, but make Red Shoes. If you already have Chinese Opera Mask, make either Emerald Tablet or make a defense item. Blazing Dress is good on characters who want longer fights and remain close to their opponent. This mean is really only good on melee characters, as ranged characters do not want to fight enemies close to them. Second type of transition items are spell amp items. These are for characters that mainly use their spells. These characters generally build extra skill damage, percentage skill damage, or cooldown reduction, aka CDR. With CDR, remember that you have a 35% limit unless you have an item that increases the cap to 40% or 45%. Queen of Hearts and Prominence both increase the cap to 45%. So if you're running a build with Tac Ops, EOD Suit, Tachyon Brace, and then equip Sanguine Gunbai, then you will only get 35% even though you have more. So if you get one of the CDR items, including Sanguine Gunbai, Queen of Hearts, or Prominence, then ideally you want to switch off of one of your non-RNG CDR items for a defense item. Characters that do really well with 45% CDR want Queen of Hearts first. These characters are Adriana, Emma, and Sua. Sanguine Gunbai is easier to build. Holy Orders is the first spellcaster Force Core item, and you can build this, but I think this item is not that great. So it's generally better to build a defense item than Holy Orders. With Mithril, you can build Kundala. Kundala is really good item accessory, but Sanguine Gunbai is better most of the time. Kundala is easier to build though, because you don't need a VF Blood Sample. With Tree of Life, you can build Glacial Shoes or Bracelet of Scotty. Both items are really good. Some spellcasters that use Tachyon Brace prefer them over Glacial Shoes, but most don't. If you get 1 Tree of Life, I would recommend upgrading to Bracelet of Scotty before Glacial Shoes, unless you're playing a character that builds Glacial Shoes on their route. If you're running Dropnir, always switch to Bracelet of Scotty. If you're running Straight Jackets, always switch to Glacial Shoes. And with Meteorite, you can build Cabana. Cabana is a direct upgrade of Commander's Armor, so if you build Commander's Armor on your route, you want to go for one of the Meteorite spawns to upgrade to Cabana. If you find a Cabana is better on most spellcasters, with the exception of Adriana, Sua, Sylvia, and Lennox most of the time. Don't switch to Cabana if you play one of those spellcasters. Generally, spellcasters that prefer CDR do not want Cabana. The third type is EBAD, extra basic attack damage, formerly known as ENAD, extra normal attack damage. Blazing Dress used to be an ENAD item, but is no longer. So the transition items for EBAD characters are minimal. All EBAD characters want Laurel Wreath. Laurel Wreath is made with Truce Modifier, which is Tree of Life plus Lighter. With Mithril, you can make Mithril Quiver. Mithril Quiver is also good on EBAD characters except Heart, because Heart's main weapon, Teen Spirit, has attack range on it. Attack range is a unique passive, meaning you cannot stack the effect for multiple items. I put Tuxedo here because all EBAD characters that build Crusader's armor first want to transition to Tuxedo for the late game. Most EBAD characters will switch to Keep Watch. The EBAD characters that do not want to switch are Rio and most Williams. Keep Watch is made with a Moonstone, which is Meteorite plus Stone. Since EBAD characters do not really care about the critical strike chance, the extra defense and attack speed are really important. Plus the CDR is nice as well. Most EBAD characters won't switch to any defensive items because they want to burst people with their basic attacks, so Force Cores, VF Blood Samples, and Meteorites are useless for EBAD characters. The last type is defense items. These are items that most characters want to switch to. If you get Mithril, you can build Mithril Helm, Mithril Boots, Mithril Shield, or Mithril Armor. All these items are really good, and you can switch off pretty much any non-RNG items for them. If you're wearing Tac Ops, make Mithril Helm. If you're wearing Sheetha Shah Jahan, make Mithril Shield. Mithril Armor is the best defensive chest in the game, and if you need that extra defense, I would switch to this item if you're not wearing an RNG chest piece. Mithril Boots are good in slot for any boots except if you have an RNG boot already. If you get a Force Core, you can build Auto Arms or Boots of Hermes. You could argue Auto Arms being an attack item, but a lot of the cast will wear Auto Arms, which is why I'm putting it here. Both items are really strong and good to wear on most characters. If you need more attack power, I would make Auto Arms. If you're going against characters with a lot of crowd control or CC, such as Hedgen, then I would make Boots of Hermes. CC index include things such as Fear, Stun, or Slow. If you get a first aid kit, you can make Taproots. Taproots give HP and increase the amount of healing you receive. This item is good if you're not already wearing an RNG boot, but even then, a lot of people will still switch to Taproots. Now there are 3 defensive items that I consider more niche. These are Lunar Embrace, Tellurian Timepiece, and Keep Watch. Lunar Embrace is made with a Moonstone. You should only wear Lunar Embrace if most of the people left in the lobby are spellcasters, and even then, a lot of other accessories are better. Tellurian Timepiece is made with Mithril and is really only used on certain characters like Emma, Hyunwoo, or Lennox. Even then, there are better items to use on these characters, such as Bracelet of Scotty. I would use Mithril on something else until they buff it or nerf some of the other arm pieces. Keywatch is made with a Moonstone and is in a similar place as Tellurian Timepiece that is only really used on certain characters such as Nadine, Sua, Levin, and EBAD characters. And most of these characters prefer a different arm piece. So if you get a Meteorite, I would save it for a Force Core. If you get a Moonstone, I would turn it into Tear of Selene or a different Moonstone item. My last note is if your character uses Radar, you do not want to switch off of it in 99% of cases. The only characters that do want to switch off of it are EBAD characters. Radar is a legendary for a reason. These are the basics of transition items. There are a lot of things to remember, so I'll be including infographics for you to print or download in the description to keep by you while you play. If you like this guide, please consider giving it a like. It lets me know if you like these types of videos. And if you like Eternal Return as much as I do, consider subscribing. I hope to see you at the next video.